Okay, so I didn't think I'd be talking about Cinder so soon after the previous video we made, obviously on her anniversary, birthday, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, a lot of people were celebrating it and, having a fun time over in her offline chat. But it seems like there's been a little bit of an update on some of the kind of old documents that came out with the original drama. Now, obviously, many people are questioning this and, trying to understand why this has happened in the first place. And I do think it's a very interesting thing to look into because it seems like Nanolus has actually locked the replies on her document post and Spite has deleted her document entirely. Now, this is interesting because, again, I don't know exactly why they've done this, and obviously it's up to them to really explain the reason why, because, again, we don't want to, take things way too out of context and whatever, but, again, this has one upvote, by the way, which I think is pretty crazy. But, yeah, if you go take a look at the post right now, the original Spite tweet with the Google Doc is actually still up, which makes me think that this is a little bit more nuanced than we think it is, because, again, if they take down the tweet and they take down the document, then I think that would be a little bit more interesting, because, again, I do think that would be pretty crazy. But with Nanolus, she has just locked her post, so you cannot reply to it, which I do think is pretty interesting. Now, obviously, I think the main reason, and I think a lot of people have been, pointing this out, is potentially due to some online harassment. Now, again, in Spite's case, as you can see here, if I click on the Google Doc, it says, sorry, the file you've requested has been deleted. Now, again, I don't know why this has been. I don't know whether this could be she was having a clean out of a Google Doc and she accidentally deleted it, or maybe she didn't like some of the information that was being portrayed there, so she deleted it. Again, it could literally be a multitude of reasons. It could be, maybe there's some stuff wrong in it, and so she deleted it. But again, it doesn't really make sense to me that she would keep the tweet up as well if she was planning on deleting all of it. So obviously, many people have been speculating about what this could be, and I hope that they do actually provide a response to this, because I would like to know what is going on with this, because, did they get some information wrong, or potentially are they getting harassed? Either way, I think a lot of people would like to know, so that they can then, people can then fight back against that, because again, I do think that it is terrible if they are, obviously being harassed. Now, for the Nanoless one, I think, locking replies, that probably could be due to some kind of form of harassment. Again, I'm sure there's been people trickling in over through replies, trying to harass Nanoless over this kind of stuff, which I think is crazy, even to this day. I mean, it's been months now, let's be real. It's been so long since this has happened. But again, obviously, some people, like to drag it on and drag it on and drag it on, which I think is very interesting. And obviously, yeah, you can see here the actual kind of Google Doc itself is still up. So nothing has been deleted on Nanoless' side, but yeah, Spite's document, the document itself has been deleted, but the tweet itself has not. Now, people have been talking about this in this little subreddit here, saying that's incredibly odd. Why do it nearly 5 months after the drama has been revealed? They said, nutjobs are still doing harassment campaigns against anyone that is opposed to Sinder with some BS to prove that she's innocent. With such evidence as instances that Nano was previously sick or tired to prove that she had been actually sick when she cancelled on Bao. Which obviously, yeah, I've seen obviously a lot of those documents, and we've even covered a lot of the kind of messages from, for example, other artists and things, which I thought was very interesting. We even covered a situation to do with Spite and the copying allegations, which, potentially could be a reason as to why this was deleted. Again, I have no clue why, but again, it is very interesting that it has been deleted, and obviously a lot of those documents, a lot of those things that have come out since have also been very interesting. There's been, a lot of rebuttals to some of the information. Now, I don't think any of the documents have completely cleared Cinder of everything, I don't think she is completely innocent on every single kind of thing that she's been accused of. But I do think a lot of people have provided many interesting points that could clear her of some specific points that were brought up in places like Nanoless's document and other documents that have come out, which I do think is actually fair enough. I understand people trying to bring as much light to it. Now, obviously, I would much rather it be coming from a lot of the kind of official sources, for example, like Spite and people like that, to be saying, hey, we messed up on this one. Hey, we got this bit wrong. Don't go send any hate towards this or whatever. But again, obviously, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So again, I do think it is quite interesting. People saying, I get that, but how does it correlate to them removing the docs? And obviously, some people are trying to call them out, saying, are you the one defending Twisty and stuff like that? But again, I do think it does relate to removing the docs because, again, obviously, there has been a lot of harassment towards them, Again, I don't know the document one is harder to explain. I think the document one is going to be something that we're going to have to wait for Spite to really say anything about, because again, I don't want to speculate too much behind what could be going on, because again, there could be a multitude of reasons. I think with the Nanolus one, though, it's more cut and dry that this was locked due to obviously people replying to her and stuff like that, and I can totally understand that. You're saying looks like the harassment campaign of these arranged pyropups is starting to go too far. And as I said, those aren't pyropups. The real pyropups bounced, they're just toxic wannabes. And yeah, we've seen the real pyropups. We saw the video the other day of them obviously celebrating in Cinder's chat and everything like that. Those are the pyropups. So that's those are the real ones, as you know. But obviously, yeah, the ones kind of creating hype trains, putting out happy birthday messages and things like that. Obviously that was really great to see. But obviously, yeah, there is a lot of people who still want to harass Spite and Nanolus and all these other people who are obviously involved in the situation, which I think is pretty interesting. People saying it could be a lot of things from mundane to fanciful. Again, as I said, it could be something mundane as well. It could be like Spite was just doing like a clear out of a Google Drive and accidentally just went, oh crap, I deleted that. Oh wait, never mind. But again, obviously, if you're saying Sinder supposedly made a post on our Discord 3 days ago, that could be a hint of a planned return soon. So maybe this is related. But again, yeah, obviously a lot of people saying it could be related. I don't really know. I don't think it is. I feel like these are probably two separate instances. They said, I don't know, maybe Nano and Spite got requested to take down their docs and only Spite acquiesced. Which again also could be true. It said likely, literally nothing can be gleaned yet on the basis of little information. 100% true. I like this guy's reply, or girl, whoever. They've got quite an anonymous name. Said maybe Spite's dog got broken somehow and it still exists, but the link needs to be fixed. I'd say give it a week and see what happens. But yeah, I think it's 100% true. Just give it a little bit of time, see if Spite says anything about it, see if Nanolus says anything about it, and then obviously we can go from there. But yeah, it seems very, very interesting, though, that this has happened. They said the post a couple of days ago was celebrating a birthday, not anything to do with a possibility of returning to streaming, which, yeah, obviously, it was not like a possibility of returning to streaming. Again, well, obviously, it means that she was getting more comfortable with chatting with her community again, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she's back or anything. It might be a little while until that happens, if it does happen. Obviously, they said, was it? I confess I was unaware of exactly what the post was all about. All I see was a One-Piece gif of two characters known for their tragic backstories and suffering. I said, obviously, people saying they're DMing a screenshot. I said, I already know it's you. Which obviously, yeah, I think obviously a lot of people have been kind of pointing the finger towards people and saying like, oh, this is their fault, this is their fault. Again, at the end of the day, I just think it's an interesting kind of piece of information to bring up that, these have been removed and locked and things. Again, for example, for the Nanolus one, I think that, it could be potentially due to harassment because obviously of the locking. It just stops people from applying, and that's all it does. It doesn't stop people from looking at the document. It doesn't stop people from doing anything else. I think it is literally just stopping people from applying. And maybe as well, the lock could be due to the fact of like, they're probably still getting replies now, and maybe it wasn't like a bombardment of like insane harassment or anything. It could just be like a lot of people commenting on it still to this day. And, obviously as a person who's been, pretty heavily affected by this, you probably don't want those notifications coming up in your feed every single day. Now, you could mute it, I guess, but I guess locking the post could also be a very valid option. Again, I think that could also be another reason. But as for Spite and deleting the document, I don't know. Again, it could be a URL issue. Sometimes that does happen where the URL changes. And, again, that could be the case. It could be that she accidentally deleted it. It could be that she deleted it on purpose due to the fact of, I don't know, information, or due to the fact of being told to take it down. Again, it could literally be multitudes of reasons behind this. And we'll have to wait and see for a response from Spite and a response from Nanolus. Again, Nanolus, not so much, because I think that Nanolus, again, locking a post, it's, lock her up. She locked a post. Like, sure, whatever. But with Spite deleting a lot the post that was obviously calling out Sinder, I think that is a very interesting move. And yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it and see what happens, because again, yeah, interesting. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking that out. Again, they've got a ton of new merch out at the moment, so I definitely recommend going over there and taking a look, because again, it is really nice. I'm pretty sure I've gotten one of everything from that set because of how nice it is. So again, check it out. Use my code Kazza. Again, 10% off. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.